Welcome back to the Boardroom Breakdown, where we distill complex strategy and tech into quick, executive-ready briefings. Today we are prying open that infamous AI black box. We're going to find out why understanding its decisions isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's absolutely mission-critical, especially in places like finance, healthcare, insurance, you name it. Being able to explain why an AI did what it did, that's the new key to trust, to compliance, and frankly, to your competitive edge.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it down. We'll talk about the risk of that black box. Then we'll get into the solution, Explainable AI, or XAI. We'll see how it works, get real with some of its limitations, and wrap up with a playbook you can actually use.
So let's just jump right into the problem. This black box thing, it's not some future tech problem we can kick down the road. No, it's a real and growing business risk right now. Why? Well, because the horse has already bolted. AI is already making critical decisions in our businesses, from who gets a loan to who gets a life-saving diagnosis. Think about the fundamental shift here. With traditional software, we wrote the rules, right? You could literally follow the logic line by line. It was all there. But modern AI, it's different. It learns its own logic from swimming in massive pools of data, and it finds these incredibly powerful patterns that we just can't see, leading to decisions that are stunningly accurate, but often completely unexplainable. And let's be crystal clear, these aren't IT problems. These are board-level, front-page news kind of risks. If you can't explain a decision, you could fail a huge audit under something like the EU AI Act. Your top people, your doctors, your underwriters, they're not going to stake their careers on a recommendation they can't understand. And here's the big one. These models can pick up and even amplify hidden biases in your data, creating a legal and PR nightmare. Oh, and good luck fixing a model when you have no idea why it broke in the first place.
So that's the scary part. How do we actually manage all this risk and still get all the incredible value from AI? Well, the answer lies in this field we call Explainable AI, or XAI for short. To put it simply, XAI is really a set of tools that translates the machine's complex logic into reasons a human can actually get their head around. It lets us inspect, question, and ultimately trust what the AI is telling us. It's kind of like building a bridge between the machine's cold calculation and our very human need for a good reason.
And this is where the business case just clicks into place. XAI is not just about defense, not just about compliance. Yes, of course, it gives you that paper trail for the regulators, but it also builds the trust you need for your employees and your customers to actually adopt and use these powerful systems. And here's the kicker, it actually makes your AI better, because by seeing the why, you can spot data problems and model weaknesses you would have otherwise missed.
Okay, so enough with the theory. How does this stuff actually work in the real world? Let's make this concept of explanation something you can really see and feel.
The core idea behind a lot of XAI is something called feature attribution. It's basically about assigning credit or blame. For any decision, like approving a loan or flagging fraud, XAI shows us exactly which pieces of information pushed the decision one way or the other. It's actually based on a cool concept from game theory called Shapley values, which is just a fancy way of figuring out how much each player contributed to the win.
All right, picture this. A bank's AI denies a loan. Instead of just a hard no, XAI gives you a ranked list of reasons why. A tool like SHAP can spit out the legally required explanation saying, hey, high credit card debt pushed the score down by 35%, and short credit history pushed it down another 25%. All of a sudden, a painful compliance task becomes this automatic, transparent, and scalable process. It's a game changer. Or let's jump over to healthcare. An AI flags a scan for a potential tumor, but instead of just a yes-no answer, a technique called a saliency map creates a heat map right on the image. It literally highlights the exact pixels that made the AI suspicious. You see that? The AI goes from being this mysterious oracle to a transparent co-pilot, pointing things out for the expert clinician, who is always in charge of the final call. But, and this is a really big but, XAI is not a magic wand. If we're going to use it strategically, we have to be brutally honest about its limits, because an explanation is not the same thing as the truth. We have to remember, an explanation is just a simplified model trying to describe a much more complex model. So you'll have experts who look at the same explanation and completely disagree on what it means. You need real domain expertise to know if an explanation even makes sense. And the reason for one decision might not apply to all the others. And get this. Since the AI is always learning, the explanation for the exact same decision might be totally different next month. You just can't treat these things as gospel. Okay, so knowing the good, the bad, and the ugly, what do you actually do? How do you move forward? Well, here is a straightforward, no-nonsense playbook to get you started on building AI you can actually trust. Look, this isn't some 5-year plan. These are things you can start on next quarter. First, strategy. Take stock of all your AI models, figure out which ones are high risk, and make those the priority. And always, always default to the simplest model that can get the job done. Next, you standardize. Pick one main method, like SHAP, so everyone's speaking the same language. And create model cards, so everyone knows what a model can and can't do. And finally, you make it real with governance. Clear rules for when a human steps in, and constant monitoring to see how your models and their explanations are changing over time. But, when you zoom out, this is all about a much bigger, more fundamental shift in thinking. It's about moving away from just buying XAI tools to actually building a culture of governance and accountability. The goal isn't to explain the algorithm. It's to be able to stand behind and explain the final business decision. And it's not about replacing your experts. It's about giving them the power to challenge and to verify what the algorithm is telling them. So here's the thought I want to leave you with. XAI isn't about proving how clever your model is. It's about making sure your organization is ready, truly ready, to stand behind every single decision it makes, whether a person or a machine made it. It all comes down to accountability. And in this new age of AI, accountability is everything.